Hello and welcome to the Limitless Landscapers podcast. I'm Paula, your host, and today we're talking about evolving and developing yourself and aligning yourself with your business and how that looks. So, intrigued? Let's go to the show. As the co-founders of the Landscaper Circle, we help you get more money, time and freedom to become limitless through our experiences as fellow landscapers and our tried and tested methods. If you want help with your marketing, managing or growing your business, you've definitely come to the right place. If you're a landscaper, garden designer or supplier to the industry, then hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now, let's get back to the show. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Limitless Landscapers podcast. How are you guys? I'm currently recording this in my car while I'm waiting for Mike to come out of hospital. So he's fine. He's having a cyst removed from his back. So that is going to impact on work and life, but essentially he's going in, simple procedure. So I am waiting for him. I'm going to go in after I've recorded this and wait for him in the waiting room. So how are things in your guys' lives? Any hospital visits, any routine appointments I should know about? All is well here. I just wanted to talk about this episode really on the changes that are coming up for the Landscaper Circle. So I don't know if you saw a post last week on the Landscaper Circle, but essentially things are changing. Basically, I have realigned myself with the business and realign myself with Aura Landscapes. So I don't, this could be what's happening in your business. It might be helpful to know, but essentially running two businesses is difficult. I find it very hard to manage my time between the two. So essentially something has to give always. And basically Aura Landscapes is going through a massive change at the moment. We picked up keys to our new and exciting adventure. Some of you will know a bit more about this, but I will highlight this in another podcast episode. That's one for another episode. And essentially, I feel like I need to commit a bit more time to Aura Landscapes again in what is the next phase, the next chapter of the business. And it's very exciting, but obviously there's a lot to do. There's a lot of things that I need to get on with. And also we're hiring staff and things are changing and we're developing new things. So it's all very exciting, but it does mean that I need to really realign myself, my values and what I want to do. And this doesn't mean, by the way, that TLC is going, absolutely not, but it is going to be in a very, very, very different format than you see today. And part of this has come from obviously the needs of Aura Landscapes, but also it's come from the needs of myself. And I want to reflect that back to you guys really, because sometimes we can get really caught up in what we think we should do, what others want from us, and really disconnect from what we want from ourselves and what we see our life looking like and what we see the business delivering for us to live that life. And essentially TLC as it stands at the moment is not fitting my life. It's not fitting my plans. And essentially it's not really me. And I feel like I have evolved massively. And you guys, think about this in your own businesses. Do you feel like you're changing as a person? All of us change all of the time, particularly if you have a mindset like I cultivate in myself, which is working on myself, taking steps in self-care. And I'm always trying to reflect back things that happen. So, situations that happen that you think are, you can feel really down, but actually what's the lesson there and why did that happen and how can we move forward positively? So I'm always trying to do this, and a byproduct of that is I've changed as a person. So what I now want to do and how I want my life to look, currently TLC does not serve me. So selfishly, I'm putting myself first. I also have realized who I really want to work with. So I've really nailed down my niche client and I've really worked out who I am for, because we are not all for everybody. Our businesses, contrary to popular belief, are not for everybody. So we are not a landscaper that will suit everyone. We're not a designer that's going to suit everyone. We have our niche clients and we have the ideal clients that we want to work with. And essentially I'm saying that I've done some work on my ideal clients, and I now know even more clearly who I'm most suited to work with. So as I move forward in this new development phase of TLC, I'm going to be making that more and more obvious to you. And if you're my ideal client, fantastic, I would love to work with you. It's quite exciting, but I just wanted to jump on to basically go through this, as this might be happening in your business. You could be feeling a bit at a point where we've gone through January and it was all very exciting. We created vision boards, we're starting new habits, that could be whatever that is to you, whether it's getting up early, whether it's doing some exercise, whether it's journaling, whether it's eating healthy. It could be any of the above or all of the above. And I feel like we run into January really excited, but also towards the end of January, it can feel really depressing because we're in January, particularly, the weather has been awful as landscapers. So working outside is not been the most productive or the most nicest for those that are working outside, but also it means that the money isn't coming in quite the way we would envisage if we had a more mild winter, or if we didn't have repeated cold spells and torrential rain. They can't be helped. So I don't really like to dwell on that. I kind of look for the solutions, and I've looked for many, many solutions in my business in order to get through times like this over the last 12 years. So I'm not concerned. However, what does happen is when that is on top of other life issues, you can start to feel really down. So as we move into February, I feel like this is a new reignition of passion, reigniting of what are we really here for. And for me, it's been a bit more of a reflectiveness on what do I truly want. And I have a few thoughts. I'm not going to go into the details here and now. That will be going over the next few weeks, because I obviously have to speak to existing TLC clients and members, and also look to change a number of things in the business to set it up in the way I want it to going forward. But I want you to start thinking, we're now in February. How was January, first and foremost? How was January at the end? What was good and bad about it? What could you take forward into February? What do you want to totally leave behind? Have you changed? Should you be looking at how you want the business to look? And when I was reflecting on this, a bit of food for thought really, is what it's thinking about. Sometimes our brain, because it wants to keep us safe, and that's great if you're running away from the woolly mammoth, but we're not back in those times. So we need to learn to overcome that irrelevant fear. When you start to look at your business and what you want to achieve from life, your brain will start putting in the fear. So it will start putting obstacles in front of you, like, oh, no way could you do that. Absolutely. It will begin to put hurdles in there. It will begin to put doubts in your mind. It will begin to say, yeah, but these people love what you do. They want you to do this, or this client would like from you, so you should do it. And I'm asking you, quite hard to do really, but to put all that to one side and really focus on you. What will make you happy? What will keep you inspired and motivated? For me, I love new challenges. It's not unusual as an entrepreneur. This is kind of what we thrive on, what we're driven by, new challenges. We're generally quite ambitious people, and we love the thrill almost of the chase, really. It always is harder when it comes to the follow through, because you need to be way more disciplined. That's a word I highlighted last week. And you also have to be way more focused in getting the job done. But along the way, we kind of change as people. As business owners, you're constantly dealt loads of shit that you have to overcome, and it's strength of mind and resilience that helps us overcome that. But essentially we get to learn a lot of lessons, and I say we get to learn because people who don't run businesses don't often get to learn these lessons, or they don't learn to look for the lessons because their mind isn't built the way up. So we get the chance to learn from our mistakes, we get to learn from our failures, and we get to adapt and change really quickly. If you worked in a big organization or for a big corporate company, you can't make change very quickly because there's lots of people above and below you. It's not very fluid. Whereas when you get to work for yourself, which is a massive, massive bonus in my opinion, you also get to maneuver and change really quickly. At the drop of a hat, you can change. It doesn't matter. All you've got to do is overcome the fear and doubt that will be coming up in your mind again and again. And you've got to be able to be self-led. You've got to be able to take those steps yourself, and you've got to be able to know when to stop, when to pivot, and when to continue. And I think that can be a challenge sometimes, because to give up before you've truly reached the end is considered failure sometimes, and you can really put that pressure on you rather than thinking of what actually would serve me, and what would serve the clients I want to work with. Most importantly, who are these people that you truly want to work with? We can get so caught up in, well, if I work with these people, I'll make more money. It's not necessarily true. I believe everything starts with your passion. So if you start with yourself and your passion, the money will come. And it's not always about the money anyway. But that's another podcast episode for another day. And I think it's really important talking about self-led. Recently, I've noticed that some people are not as self-led as I thought, need a lot more hand-holding and need a lot more direction. And that's fine. But I kind of think being self-led is very, very important. So being able to lead yourself and take the steps you need to do. I need more people like that in my life rather than the ones that need loads and loads of hand-holding and direction. So yeah, this is kind of like a bit of a woo, bit of a reflection. And something else that's happened today, weirdly, I've decided to get my house valued, and I haven't got anywhere. I've got no plans to particularly move. I have seen a property that I really would like, and it's quite interesting. I'm going to book a viewing on that, but I've got no actual set in stone plans to move anywhere or do anything. But I thought I'll get the house valued. We'll see where we are there. And then we can make decisions on whether we decide to make this big, bold move or not, how that would affect, finances, etc., etc. So there's always lots of things at play, isn't there, when you're looking at big dreams. And if my dream is to have a farm, and a farm is available, funnily enough. So these are the kind of things that I believe happen for reasons. So anyway, I looked, digressing again, but essentially, I then went on Rightmove and looked at what my house was when we bought it back in 2014. And the pictures are insane. They're mad. That what we have created from what we bought back in 2014. And bearing in mind, in this time, we've built and almost lost Aura Landscapes twice. I've built TLC. I've had 2 children. It's a very big project that we took on back in 2014. And if you look at the pictures of before, I actually shared them with a few of my really good friends. And what it's like now, it's insane. And it just served as a reminder today to remember how far you've come, because where I am now was somewhere that I really, really, truly wanted to be for ages. When I had the house and it looked the way it did, it was basically a 1930s 2-bed detached bungalow, loads of land, saw the potential, it felt really good. It belonged to an elderly lady, so it went through probate because she had unfortunately passed away in the care home she was at. So obviously this house went through probate. We managed to secure it, and at the time it was only 5 minutes away from our yard, so everything was meant to be. Now, it didn't look very good. It was, it was all swirly carpets and pink bathroom and all the other things that were not very good. It was damp. It didn't have any heating. It only had open fires, which was beautiful, but they hadn't been used in years. It had no radiators, no central heating. The carpets they disintegrated as we pulled them up. It had a shower. It didn't have a bath. All of these random things. It was really old school. It didn't have double glazing. It needed a lot of work. And ultimately, since 2014 to now, we've created and renovated this property. And I'll share some examples over on Aura Landscapes, the garden, how much that's changed. But the house has changed immensely. It's now a 3-bed, 1-floor house at the moment, with planning to go up. And it's what we've done is insane. But you kind of forget just how far you've come. You never really look and go, God, that's exactly where I wanted to be, 8 years ago. And look where we've come. Look how much we've got. We've changed something. Look how much we've improved it. And when we get the valuation, look how much we've added value to this property, which in turn helps us and our future plans. So what I'm trying to say to you here is, don't forget that the destination you're at now was somewhere that you strived to be, that you wanted to be so badly, that you said, when you get here, everything will be great. And then let's remember, when we get here, there's always something else we're going for. So let's not forget to celebrate. Let's not forget the importance of reflection on ourselves, where we've come from, what we've achieved in different periods of time, but also not to forget to be true to ourselves, because that's the most important. So I'll leave that here today, because I'm going to go in and check how things are going and hopefully pick up Mike after a successful op. And yeah, if you've got any questions, please get in contact, info@thelandscapercircle.co.uk. DM me on any of the social channels that we're on, at the Landscaper Circle, at the Limitless Landscapers Podcast, and at Warm and Paula. And yeah, think about how far you've come. Think about what's changed in you as a person. Don't think about anybody else. What you want for the future and how you can make steps now to make that future happen. If you know anything about me, I'm all about manifestation. At the moment, I'm trying to manifest 2 huge projects in my life, and yeah, and also change the businesses on the way. So wish me luck, and I love all your positive vibes, positive energy, and I will keep showing up every week. So I will see you here next week for another episode of the Limitless Landscapers Podcast. Bye.